Technology, media, and telecom advisor. So we wrote policy on what the new administration would do and how to express our platform around that kind of stuff. Then I was a surrogate speaker, so I went on tour speaking in large and small venues on his behalf, talking to people, really getting their feedback on what mattered to them, talking about clean energy, about job creation, that kind of stuff. And then the last 2 weeks of the campaign, I went and worked in a small town called Elko, Nevada.
Elko, Nevada?
Yeah, it's in the northeastern part of Nevada. It's a really Republican, really nasty treatment for Democrats there. In fact, the first day that I was campaigning, they rubbed dog crap on the side of my truck, and so it was pretty intense. You know, there was a lot of fear. It was amazing. I mean, here were very poor people who stood to benefit the most from Obama's election, who were very fearful of him because of his race, because feeling he was an Arab and all this stuff. It was, so hopefully with his election, hopefully we'll do some healing as a country and get past the fear and get back to getting stuff done.
Okay, what is the influence of social media on Obama?
Well, I think Obama, one of the key tenets of Obama's entire campaign, his administration, has been how to include as many people as possible, how to cut out the layers, communicate directly with the citizenry and with voters. And I think social media really makes that increasingly possible. Before, starting with Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the fireside chat by radio was revolutionary back then. As folks would gather around to hear updates from him directly. But I think taking that to YouTube, taking it to Twitter, taking it to, just recently he hosted an event where he had people from the country submit questions for him to ask. The citizens of America could vote on which questions they thought were most interesting. And then he held a live press conference broadcast over the web in which he answered those questions. It was totally fascinating, unprecedented, really, really cool. So, real Americans were getting their questions answered in this very transparent, accountable way. It was funny, one of the main questions that got voted to the top was about marijuana legalization, which most politicians would never answer. It would get filtered out by one of their PR.
Like in Amsterdam?
Yeah, exactly. But most traditional politicians in the United States would never address that. They would go back to job creation or something safe. But he addressed it because that's what the people wanted to hear him say. So, yeah.
Okay, I heard Google wants you back. What do they have to do to get you back?
No, Google doesn't want me back. And I don't know, I continue to interact with the company a lot. I have a lot of good friends there and we do a lot of business together. They bought one of my companies last year. I was really excited to sell.
What company did they bought?
There's a company called Omnisio that YouTube bought, and I was thrilled to work with them on that. And I think they're an exciting company who continues to be not just a source of innovation, but a source of inspiration and also an example of the kind of culture to build within a company. So, yeah, I love still being in the valley with them.
Okay, what is the most interesting part of Google for you?
The most interesting part was that I think Larry and Sergey really felt that they were building a 100-year company and so hated making short-term decisions, and B, they hated doing small things. They really wanted to change the world, and so the only way you could really get laughed out of the room there was to bring an idea that was too small.
Too small? Too small.
Yeah, you'd get criticized if you brought something that was too small. So you had to really be thinking big and transformative.
Are you thinking big yourself?
Yeah, of course. But I think what I do is I like to find people who are thinking big and spend time with them. It inspires me, and if I can be helpful to them, I feel even better.
They say Chris Sacca is on a mission. Well, what is your mission besides thinking big?
My personal mission is to be helpful. I think that makes me happiest, and so yeah, I try and be helpful to companies. I try and be helpful to other people. I felt great. I just got back from Ethiopia where we were helping dig wells for the rural poor.
You lost weight, I heard?
I lost a lot of weight. I got sick down there. I know it's surprising because I still look fat, but yeah, we were working with a group called Charity Water at charitywater.org where we were building wells, and so I think anywhere we can be helpful, that's when humans feel best.
Thank you, Chris Sacca.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.